I'm Joost, the founder and CEO of Yoast. We are currently in Vienna, which is an awful city because it's so beautiful that it's actually awful to be here. We're here for WordCamp Europe, which is the best WordCamp on the planet. And we're currently being watched by about 25 people who think it's awesome that we're doing a live screening.
Which is more people, by the way, than will ever see this actual video. So that's and we have so I have a white wine,
and I have an Otterkringer Brouwerij beer.
Bless you.
It's very local, and I like it.
Yeah, it's what they call a fast pouring beer.
Yeah, it's just good.
Cheers. What was the moment that got you excited, or the things that led up to you getting excited about the internet?
Okay, so we're talking the year 1994.
Okay.
I'm 12 years old. I've learned to program in Pascal, which...
I learned, by the way, Borland Pascal is...
Yeah, that was my first Turbo Pascal 7.
Yeah.
After which I started to do Delphi, which was horrible. So in 1994, we got commercial internet at my parents' home, where I still lived, of course, because I was 12.
Dial-up?
No. We actually went straight to cable. I think it was 20 Mbits or something, which is okay in the US, I guess, but in Holland right now that would be ridiculously low.
Yeah.
But yeah, we went there pretty quickly. We'd had commercial internet in the Netherlands for 2 years at that point.
Yeah.
And well, 2 years in, we got internet at home, and I was just surfing around a bit, and I did a bit of programming, and then figured out that I could do like HTML.
How did you figure that out?
I was always breaking everything, so I was just looking at web pages, and I figured out that there was a view source thing, and I was like, oh wait, so this is a language that I can actually write.
So you reverse engineered a lot of HTML and then started building your own.
Yeah, okay. Basically. My real first moment where I was like, okay, so the web is awesome, was probably 12 years later.
Okay.
My wife was pregnant of our first kid. I was active in the WebKit community. I was already I liked open source, I liked the web, but I hadn't really had my epiphany yet.
Were you making money from building sites for people, or?
No, I was an account and sales manager at a hosting company.
Okay. All right.
I liked my job, but I didn't really have a passion for it yet.
Okay.
And then I started working on WebKit, and my wife was pregnant, and she was very tired that pregnancy. So she went to bed early every night, and I started coding on WebKit more and more, and especially on CSS3 test cases. We're talking the year 2006.
All right.
So I built a site called CSS3.info, which was, and probably still is, the best resource on CSS3.
Yeah.
I sold it a few years later to another guy you probably know, Frederick Towns, who built W3 Total Cache. At that point I was playing with CSS3 and I was like, oh shit, this is going to be really, really cool very soon. Very soon turned out to be 5 years later, but I guess that's soon in the web of standards.
Right. So what was it about contributing that excited you?
So I built something for WebKit, and it was released in Safari, and people got an OS X update, and everyone that had that OS X update suddenly had working CSS3 because I had worked on that.
Awesome.
That's the sort of stuff that makes you go like, wow.
So knowing that you made a difference,
you make an impact that is like, which is still something that excites me when I look at what we do with Yoast now. When you realize that you look at numbers where Yoast SEO is running on 10% of the top 1 million sites on the planet. Not even the WordPress sites, but 10% of the top 1 million sites.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah.
I mean, and that sort of impact is just awesome.
Yeah.
It's just very awesome.
I agree. Yeah. What happened between the time that you worked on WebKit and you were contributing and the time that you started Yoast SEO?
So I started doing WebKit. I started CSS3.info. I built that in WordPress.
Yeah.
I worked at an SEO company at the time, so I started building SEO plugins because I wanted to optimize my site.
Yeah.
And then slowly, those plugins became more. I had like 6 SEO plugins at one point, which was really just stupid. I mean, people don't want to install 6 different plugins to do SEO. They want to install one plugin.
And they were for different features?
So different bits and bobs and
Yeah. So maybe one for sitemaps and another one for optimizing
sitemaps wasn't even on there, but meta robots and breadcrumbs and so all different things. And then in 2010, I was working at an agency, and I had fun, but the agency was like 2 hours away.
Yeah.
So I was doing an hour and a half back and forth every time, and I hated it. And so I was like, I should go on my own.
Yeah.
And I had a couple of clients that I could take with me, basically.
Right.
Not really in terms of consulting that hard, but in training and SEO training and stuff like that. And I started to work on WordPress SEO, the plugin that now everybody knows as Yoast SEO.
Yeah.
So I started on my own in 2010. I released WordPress SEO in 2011, which is only 5 years ago, really.
Yeah. And now you've seen this incredible rise to popularity. But we'll talk about that in a second. Yeah. So you released the plugin, and I have a question that I don't think I've ever asked you, but why did you choose to change the name from? So the name was originally
WordPress SEO.
WordPress SEO. Okay, so why did you choose to change the name from WordPress SEO to Yoast SEO?
Well, mostly because WordPress had gone to preventing new plugins from using WordPress in their name.
Yeah.
So we were getting a lot of annoying people that said, yeah, but they can do it. And they were like, yeah, but they were here before we came up with that rule, so we grandfathered them in.
Yeah.
And then I started thinking about it. I was like, I don't really care that it's WordPress SEO, because we were thinking about expanding to other platforms.
Yeah.
And I wanted the branding to be around our company much more than around the platform. So we have Yoast SEO for Drupal now. We're working on Yoast SEO for Typo 3. We're looking actively at Yoast SEO for Magento. So we're expanding. And it didn't make sense to brand that as WordPress SEO anymore.
But Yoast is your name.
Yeah.
And the name of your company
is Yoast. Yeah.
And they're not even spelled the same.
No.
So what's the deal with that?
So Yoast, as in Y-O-A-S-T, is how you pronounce my name if you're American.
Yeah.
Because my name, J-O-O-S-T, is not something Americans can pronounce in a proper way normally, because they don't understand how that works. Okay. Because the J is soft in Dutch, and the double O is a long O instead of becoming something else.
Okay.
So that's why I did it. Whether that was the best decision in my life, I don't know.
What is this passion? What is this excitement for SEO?
The combination is I was a developer by hobby, and professionally I was doing marketing and sales.
Right.
And SEO is like right at the middle of that. I love how SEO combines marketing with technical chops.
Yeah.
And I'm a pretty good developer. I mean, I can talk to most people, and of course there are better developers. Luckily, there are better developers at Yoast now.
Do you still develop?
For
Yoast?
Yes.
Okay, so you still commit code to the code base?
Yes. And to WordPress.
Yeah. You personally?
Yes. Okay. I've missed one release, but I think I've had commits on the last 12 releases.
Okay.
So yeah, I've been doing that for 10 years, which is weird to me as well. Yeah. It's like such a long time. But yeah, so I like that combination. So, I mean, people call that growth hacking now, right? The combination of development and marketing. Yeah. But SEOs have been doing that for years. The only problem is that SEOs have a reputation problem.
What do you think the business opportunity is for people that are experts in SEO that complements the use of Yoast SEO when they're pitching their business?
So we know of a ton of SEO companies that they either are web development companies that offer SEO services or just SEO companies that install our plugin and then use our plugin to optimize the sites for their clients.
Yeah.
Because our plugin is not something that does the work. I mean, it takes away the technical difficulties, but after that you have to start optimizing.
Right.
I mean, that's when
building out content.
Building out proper content.
Yeah.
We actually did an entire talk on that today because we are focusing more and more on helping people write good content, because that is what's the most important thing in SEO, and people just don't seem to be able to do that.
Now, I remember when I came to your 5-year celebration.
Yes.
YoastCon.
That was awesome.
Which was awesome, yeah. And I got some advice for my personal site, and it was from some of the employees at Yoast, and I needed to fix some navigation and work on some content. And after I did that, after I took the advice of the people at Yoast, my traffic started accelerating. Straight line to the right, up and to the right, which was amazing.
Yeah.
So you guys, you know your stuff, right?
Yeah.
Why do you think it's important for people to continue to contribute to WordPress or continue to be involved in the community?
Because we're growing the pie for all of us. I'm not just interested in growing my piece of the pie. I want to grow the entire pie.
Yeah.
And for the last few releases, I think between 5 and 10% of commits to WordPress core have been by Yoast employees.
Yeah.
And I'm bloody proud of that. Yeah. I really like doing that. We employ 2 core committers now. We have Sergey and Andrea, and we have quite a few people in our team who've done patches on core. And I think core needs us because we're the only one looking at the SEO part of core.
Yeah.
But I also think that it's like it helps us all.
Yeah.
And from a philosophical standpoint, I really, really like open source. It's no game for us. It's who we are. I wouldn't be here without open source, so I'm giving back as much as I can.
Tell me in 1 or 2 sentences, there's one piece of advice that you could give to everybody watching this video. What would that piece of advice be? About life, about business?
Follow your heart.
Okay.
And do what you love.
And the rest follows.
If you do what you love, you don't have to work a day in your life.
Cliche, but very true.
And I know that Americans accept that a lot better than most Europeans. But if you like doing what you're doing and you're challenged every day by your colleagues, etc., then life's good.
Cool.
Cheers, man.
Well, thanks. Cheers.